All right, today we're going over all my favorite side lateral variations because I know if you try all of these, you're gonna find one you connect with more that's gonna transform the way you train your shoulders and just blow up those delts. But also because the reason I get to do this isn't lost on me. It's because of people like you who watch this. So when you request something, I make it because I know where I'd be otherwise. I'd be on some street corner flipping a sign that gives bad directions and talking shit to people.
Hey, what's your name? F you, Tony.
Let me first preface by saying that a lot of the exercises I do, I would consider to be on the fringe. Some people might consider them dangerous, but I feel like if you use light enough weight, you control it through the movement, you're gonna localize that pressure to whatever deltoid head you're trying to hit. But if you don't feel comfortable doing them, don't do them. Although I would argue that Crunchwrap Supreme that you inhaled before watching this video, probably a little more harmful to your health, but to each their own. All right, let's start with a little recency bias because I've been doing these a lot lately. Now, instead of that traditional side lateral where that thumbs up, palms supinated, and that shoulders open up and you're squeezing out to the side, I've been opting to stabilize myself on a bench and come in a little bit different path because the other way starts out great. You're coming up and about 3/4 of the way in, you naturally just duck that head forward and those mongoloid traps eat the entire movement. And even if you don't have huge traps, you're still naturally gonna duck that head forward because it's just the path of least resistance. So instead, you can kneel on a bench that's on a steep incline, lay against there, and really arch that back. That way you know that those delts are the only thing firing through the movement. And then from there, it's figuring out what's the best path for you. So for me, it's just letting those arms drift forward. And then from there, I got those palms open and I'm squeezing back a little bit of angle and really trying to pull through that lateral head, pull up and back at the same time. Or the other way you can do it is flip around, lay back against that bench and do the exact same movement. But for this one, you have to actually hold that hand in front of you at the bottom. That way you can pull back on that same path. And really, to judge which one's best for you, it's easy. Which one you connect more with that delt and less trap. Simple. Since the bench is already set up, let me go over my two favorite unilateral variations because while they're distinctly different movements and you're definitely gonna have a favorite, you're gonna have that same mindset and thought process going into each of them because unlike every other lateral raise you're gonna do where you feel that entire head when you fire, this one's different because of that angle and how you're driving that weight up. You should feel all that pressure localized right to the insertion point. If you do, you're doing it right. If you don't, you're an asshole. Now, if you're somebody that typically does heavy trap laterals where you're basically flexing everything from your neck to your scrotum, then this is gonna be pretty jarring for you because it's a very light and controlled movement. A good physical cue you can have for both these variations to let you know you're doing it right is you should have that lat flared open. That'll limit the range of motion you can have and keep all that pressure right on the delt. For the first variation, you have a slight bend in your arm. That dumbbell's gonna be in front of you, but most importantly, you wanna lead with that elbow because the last thing you want is to try to pull that dumbbell up because the anterior delt's gonna eat the entire movement. So make sure you lead by pulling with that lateral head. And for the second variation, you'll lock that arm out, pull that dumbbell behind you, but not come straight to the side. Actually go back on an angle because worst case, you get a little rear delt involved, but more than likely, you're gonna have pain in that side delt that you haven't felt since you got a tetanus shot when you were a little girl. So I rarely ever walk up to the rack and do straight sets of side laterals because to me, that doesn't do anything for me. So I'll make some sort of tweak to try to get even more out of it. So whether it's with speed, either I slow the positive, slow the negative, or both. Range of motion, where I'll do partials at the bottom or partials at the top. Or it's some sort of intensity modifier where I'm doing drop sets or ascending sets. Or like this set I'm about to do where I'll take 3 of my favorites and make one swamp ass of a set. For the first exercise, I'm gonna do partials at the top where I start with that dumbbell slightly below parallel and then flex it above. Now, you're gonna have to use really light weight, and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, just turn that thumb up or just stay below parallel the entire time, but make sure you stay towards the top of the movement. Then I'm gonna grab some heavier weight, open up those shoulders, and do partials at the bottom of the movement, kicking those dumbbells out and back. And then cutting that weight in half and do regular side laterals, but with this one, a 4-count negative. It's not gonna be pretty. All right, one more variation for those people who have a really hard time connecting with those delts. You should start with these, or if you're not quite certain you hit them as hard as you should, and you haven't had time to go to the bathroom and check for stains, this will make you certain of it. You're gonna either start or finish your workout with a static hold. So grab the weight you would normally use for regular side laterals. You're gonna flare those lats open, flex those shoulders, and hold it for at least 60 seconds. If you grab a weight and you realize 15 seconds in, this isn't heavy enough, instead of just killing that entire set, start doing pulses at the top. I guarantee it'll get heavy. So if you like this video, here's one of my other favorites on shoulders. Also one of my just favorites in general I did recently. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon.